makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? Need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I've got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
You know, we need them. Yeah, we do. We need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So are you ready? Are you ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Ooh, ready or not, Doc, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. I love that attitude. Hey, folks, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with us on Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan. She is psychotherapist, LPC Lauren Leon McMillan. And you know this from being both in the counseling room, Lauren, and also on the radio, and what we do here. As much as we want everybody to feel good and be comfortable and all like that, right?
Yeah.
There's just sometimes that we got to face some things that aren't comfortable.
Comfortable can keep us stuck.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are things that can be comfortable but aren't healthy.
Yeah.
I see that often in the counseling room and just within myself.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. We see it all throughout our health, and there's some things that we've been taught to think about health and as well, that is something that you deal with after it's gone. So we're waiting on a diagnosis. And then we do our dead level best to manage the dis-ease. But, here's the fact, and that is that chronic disease often develops over time very quietly.
Yeah, and I think we talk a good bit about this here a lot, and we've talked about talked with medical professionals here on the show about it, that Western medicine is good at sick care.
Right.
It's good at helping us to get better to an extent, but it doesn't do a whole lot of prevention.
What if we could switch that? And this is a little uncomfortable to talk about, but we're going to do it today. About instead of sick care, health care.
What does that look like?
And what would that look like? And maybe some of what we're going to talk about is a little bit uncomfortable, but you know what? We can all take it. We need to...
part of how we grow.
There you go. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Restore Healing, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. We're going to talk about health today. Maybe some of this is a little uncomfortable, but hang with us. I think it's going to be worth it here on Strategies for Living.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. The body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. Yeah, I guess, Lauren, we should begin with the acknowledgement that, and the acknowledgement and the caution that you're not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical
right.
doctor.
No.
And as a matter of fact, we're getting a lot of what we're going to be talking about. Not all, but a lot of what we're going to be talking about. You found an article.
Mm-hmm.
And you sent it to me, and it really resonated.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's written by Dr. Mark Hyman,
who I like.
Yeah, he's a functional medicine doc. And he's written a lot, and he's even been a best-selling author.
Yeah.
And he contributes to a lot of other news sources. But yeah, I do like him and what he puts out. A lot of it makes sense. And not that I agree with all of it, but I really appreciate his input.
But as a medical professional, what I really like about Dr. Hyman is, he says, look, chronic disease, he points out, and I said this earlier, develops often very quietly for years before it's diagnosed. And so things like the food we put into our bodies,
mm-hmm.
the quality of sleep that we get, how often we're moving,
mm-hmm.
Your exposure to chronic stress and your response to that.
Yeah.
And the health of all of your relationships,
mm-hmm.
all of those influence biology.
Yeah. And that's part of why I appreciate his it's very more holistic. He's, as a functional doctor, he looks more at the whole than I think a lot of people have in the past.
So one of the things that he points out is, look, not every illness is preventable. And also medical treatment's unnecessary. That's not what he's saying, nor what we're saying at all. We're big proponents of Western medicine. If I get shot, if I get a bone broken, please, please, please get me to a Western physician.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I think we all have to acknowledge you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Right.
And again, this is just where we are. We have developed, like it or not, we have a sick care system.
Yeah. I think hopefully one of the through lines as we talk about this is I want people to become more empowered in recognizing their own ability to know their bodies, to care for their bodies, to advocate for their bodies. Because I think for a long time, we have so almost idolized medicine and medical doctors to the point where we just give away our power. And we forget that they're humans too.
Sure, and we don't just give it away to the healthcare companies, the pharmaceutical companies. We also give it away to the food industry.
Oh, big time.
You have taught me.
Big time.
I mean, I'm 70 years old, and you're nowhere near 70 years old.
Well,
but one of the things that you have taught me, and I thought I knew some stuff growing up in a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that you've opened my eyes to is, you read the labels.
Yeah.
And as I have read the labels, it took you a while. I will admit that I was resistant. Okay. So, but heck, I'm married to a Sicilian woman. I'm not, Mama didn't raise a fool. So,
But you also were, as you said, inundated. You grew up.
I grew up in a
grocery store. So
sure.
I think for you, on some level, there was a lot of grief involved.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I want to get across.
Okay.
For all of us, start reading the labels.
Yeah.
And you may be shocked the day that you, and I won't mention the grocery company that we were at. It doesn't matter because it happens a lot. Could happen at all. But we had run to the store. You needed, for a recipe you were working on, you needed some vegetable stock.
Yeah.
And we ran to the store, and
not a single one without sugar or high fructose corn syrup. Yeah.
Why in the world?
Broth. Yeah.
And I, of course, after you saw that in the beef broth is there and the chicken broth is there. So I'm picking up all those and reading all of those labels. And hell, there's high fructose corn syrup in most all of them,
Yeah,
which
lots of
really
soups, lots of-
woke me up. And then I began to look at other items and, why in the world would high fructose corn syrup need to be added to vegetable broth? Why in the world would high fructose corn syrup need to be added to Italian dressing? It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a good question until you begin to look at, and I think this might shed light on the answer. I don't know the answer. Let me lead with that.
Yeah.
But if you begin to look at the food companies as companies who are marketing a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not, it doesn't mean that they're actually invested in our health all the time. They're invested in selling a product and selling as much and making as much of a profit as they can. And one of the ways that you can do that is by adding ingredients that make it really good. I mean, they have food scientists who actually study what's called the bliss factor.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an actual term that they use in studying food science.
The bliss factor.
The bliss factor is the point at which it's really good, it's really satisfying, but it's not satisfying enough that I have to have it. I have to have more, and so there is a point. There is a point at which they can actually statistically calculate, okay, at what point is the consumer going to enjoy this but continue to need more?
So again, we're not sitting here saying this is what's happening, but I'm asking the question. Okay, common sense says high fructose corn syrup does not need to be in vegetable broth. However, if what you say is true, then I can see some chemist and engineer and scientists coming together and saying, calculating.
Well, and the business people.
And the business,
right,
yeah.
who
If
wanna
we
make
do
profit.
this, I mean, it's not going to be known. I mean, people aren't going to be conscious
Right.
of, I want more.
Right.
We fill in the blank, whatever it is, whether it's vegetable broth, whether it's Italian dressing, whatever. And to me, that is completely, totally, that it's so hidden from the vast majority of people who are going to go in and out of the grocery store.
Well,
And
we just don't think about it.
we don't think about it. It's not
Right.
conscious.
And I don't want people to hear this and think that, well, I believe that they're evil or nefarious behind this. No, I mean, I don't think originally it came from a point of, well, we want to hurt other people. I don't think they knew. They were just looking at it from a point blank, from a numbers marketing and
Right.
how much money can
and
you
again,
make?
I'm not saying causality here. Okay? But I am saying correlation.
Yep.
I can correlate some things. I mean, I'll just ask the question and then let anybody that's interested go look up the answer. Okay? How many large companies that are tobacco companies?
Yeah.
How many of them own food product companies now?
Not as many as they did, but you're right. A lot of them began there.
Well,
Especially when, in the 80s when they had the big campaign that, we were trying to stop smoking, right?
Right,
Well,
right.
a lot of the scientists shifted over and a lot of them did buy food companies, and those standards still exist.
sure.
Yeah.
So, it's important as we move through these today, and we're going to talk about some pretty uncomfortable truths about our health. And really where we're coming from today is hoping that we can all understand, have a better understanding
And the point
of
is
why
not,
dysfunction has developed. And if we have an understanding of it, then we can address the root causes and build conditions that will allow our body, which is made by God, it is the most incredible self-healing
mechanism. It's
mechanism.
an intelligence. Yeah.
With
Synergistic
billions
system.
of cells in our bodies have minds. They are they are mindful, they are conscious. And so, and they have a propensity towards healing.
Right.
That's the natural God-given way. So if we then quit ignoring that and say, okay, instead of working against it, let's work with it.
Well, and to firstly to recognize all the ways that we are incidentally, unconsciously working against it. And one of those ways you've already mentioned, which is all the ways we unconsciously digest and take in man-made chemicals in a lot of times. I mean, if you read the ingredients and you don't know, or you can't read, you can't say them out loud, I would at least encourage you to look them up. But if you really don't know what it is,
you have
likely
we all, as we go to the grocery store, we have a professor within our pocket, Professor Google.
That's it. Yeah, you
and
have the knowledge.
If you don't have to learn everything, but if you start reading labels and you hit one like you just said, I don't know what this is. Google it.
Most likely it's not great for your system, but at least look it up and see what
look it up. Yeah. We're coming back. We're going to talk about some uncomfortable truths about our health, each one of our health, that we all need to at least consider, at the very least question, at the very least get curious about.
Yeah, non-judgmentally.
Right.
Yeah. What does this mean for me?
Yeah. Talking about that today here on Strategies for Living.
Tuning out, let's take a ride. Healthy mind and heart open wide. Every step with spirit as our guide. Here on Strategies for Living. Mind, body, spirit, and the groove. Relationships smooth as ocean waves. Let's connect and let's improve. Strategies for brighter days.
And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. Every so often, we like it or not, and most of us, I'm raising my hand high, I don't like to make myself uncomfortable.
No,
I don't like discomfort.
I don't think any of us like it.
But there are times that it's important. It's important that we expose ourselves to certain information, and so we're doing that today.
Growth
All
doesn't
right,
happen
so
in the comfort zone.
one of the things, Lauren, that has happened, health-wise, we have sold the dickens out of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And exercise is important.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's
Incredibly.
very
Yeah.
important. So please don't anybody hear us putting down exercise, but here's the uncomfortable truth.
Okay.
You cannot exercise your way out of a bad diet.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot, much to my chagrin,
Mm-hmm.
I can't go get my favorite, morning. There's bear claws is what they are, and you can get them at Circle K.
Yeah.
I love those things. I love Southern made donuts. I cannot go eat half a dozen Southern made donuts every morning and expect, okay, I'll go later in the day and work it off.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work that way.
No, I mean, it's not, when you do that, you're treating it like a transaction.
Right.
Right. And a movement, like you said, whether you call it exercise or not, movement of some sort.
It's essential.
It's essential. It's vital. It's important.
But it's not magic.
No, and it can't provide the nutrients that aren't coming into the body in the first place, right? I also think there's something there's a psychological piece here too, right? It's kind of the idea that I want to say that movement shouldn't be a punishment for eating.
Right.
Right.
No.
And so often that thinking is where that gets us.
Right. But, and again, exercise is important. We need to exercise, but you also need, it's not an either or, it's a both and.
Mm-hmm.
So you also need to tune in, be more conscious. Let me, since I talked about bear claws and Southern Made, those are two of my very favorite things. So I don't want anybody to hear me say, you can't ever have a Southern Made donut.
The goal isn't perfection.
No.
Right.
And, I think it's healthy to occasionally give myself a Southern Made donut.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't eat one of those things. So, if I get one, it's got to be two.
Okay.
And
well, there's where the problem comes in.
Well, that's where it starts. and therein lies, I mean, I took a risk today.
Mm-hmm.
I took I'm sitting at lunch at a very nice lunch where there was just a little bit of everything.
It was a huge spread.
It was a spread. And I was looking forward to it, but I passed by the dessert table that I fully expected. Okay, I'm not going to go to that table.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm sitting next to my lovely wife.
Mm-hmm.
I've begun to call her Attila the Nun when it comes to my diet. And she's helped me immensely.
Right. I haven't done it. You've done it.
Yeah. But my point is that I said, I'm going to have a piece of that Italian cream cake. It's just too good.
Mm.
But when I went up to the table, one of a lady we go to church with
Mm-hmm.
was at the table at the same time I was, and she said she had a slice in her hand, and she said, "I can't eat this piece." She said, "Do you want to share it with me?" And I said, "Yes."
Angels do exist.
Angels do exist. So, as a matter of fact, so she shared it with me, and then I didn't eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's. That's one of the things, and I got a little bit of everything that I wanted through the line, but I didn't eat it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I gave myself taste just to satisfy
without overindulging.
And that's one of the things as Americans, we don't, we don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
We don't stop eating when our stomach gives us the signal that it's full.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to learn and develop.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I know in Japanese culture, they have an actual term for this, and forgive me, I don't remember what the term is.
Maybe you can look it up during break.
But the idea is that they have this idea that you stop eating at 80%.
Yeah.
When you feel 80% full is when they stop, because they believe in this idea of overindulgence.
One of our sponsors, Mira Direct Primary Care, Dr. Todd Flowers,
Mm-hmm.
was having a conversation with me several months ago. And, well, I won't say exactly what he said because he was rather blunt. However, then he was very kind and very gentle.
Mm-hmm.
He just told me what I needed to hear, and I did need to hear it. But he said to me, "David, as you do this, get accustomed to leaving the table a little hungry."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what will happen is if you'll stop eating when you're still a little bit hungry, when you get up from the table, you will feel satisfied and satiated.
Because it takes some time for that signal to get from the stomach and the intestines to the brain.
And Dr. Flowers was 100% on target. Yeah. That is exactly what I did. What he told me to do, and he's absolutely correct.
Yeah,
and it's helped. I mean, so far, I'm not bragging here, but so far. Since February, March. Since March 1st, I've lost 67 pounds.
Yeah.
And, I blame you, Dr. Flowers, and myself because discipline-wise, it was important to me. And so...
But the key there is, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I mean, the differences noted in things like energy level,
Yeah.
joints.
There are days that you have more energy than me now.
Well, yeah, you asked me last night.
Yeah.
We
Oh my
got
God, it's midnight.
into bed, and I
Go to
wanted to
sleep.
read, and you said, "How do you get? Where does this energy come from?" Well, it probably, some of it probably is your own doing.
I've created
you've created a monster. So exercise and bottom line is exercise and nutrition go together. Neither can replace the other.
Mm-hmm.
Both are important. It's not an either or. It's both and.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that food is not just calories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, you're
getting an
folks.
eyes.
She's giving me the old eyebrow. That we guys, kind of cringe at. But it's true.
Because all calories are, and which, by the way, just kind of a fun fact, the actual calories that are like listed on nutrition labels are actually kilocalories.
Yeah.
As in thousands of calories.
Right.
But we just call them calories.
Right.
But anyway, it's a measure of energy, how much energy the food contains, in the sense of if you burn it, it emits this much energy, and
Right.
that's all it is. I mean, it's useful, but it doesn't tell you about what the food does once it enters the system.
So every single bite sends instructions that
Mm-hmm.
influence our hormones, our metabolism, our immune system, our gut microbes, and the expression of the genes in our body, right?
Yes.
So if you only count calories, you're missing the most important information that's on your plate. Let me give an example.
Okay.
Again, I'm bragging on you today, and I don't want you to,
You didn't give me a big head.
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean, one of the things that you convinced me on early in our journey of the weight loss, you folks, she hid the sugar bowl. I came home from a hospital visit and I wanted a cup of coffee, and I went to get my cup of coffee, and I said, "Where's the sugar bowl?" And she said, "It's gone." That's months ago, and I still haven't found it. I'm still looking for it, but I hadn't found it.
You're not going to find
And I'm probably not going to find it. But here's the thing. We've replaced sugar with things like honey
or
and date
dates.
sugar.
And
So we're still, we're not going
And
without
fruit.
sweetness in our
Right.
life.
I just try to aim for more whole, because what happens is when you refine the sugar,
Right.
right, your body doesn't get the things that biologically it generally will get in addition to the sugar. Like if you're eating fruit, right, you're not just getting the fructose, but you're getting the fiber and the vitamins and the minerals.
Right.
It's
You're still getting the sweet,
sure.
Yeah. I love those little mandarin oranges. I eat one almost every morning. I love the sweetness.
Sure.
But I'm getting natural sweetness, not processed sweetness. Let me get another one quickly started here. We'll probably, after break, have to finish it. But feeling tired, foggy, bloated, or achy all the time, that's not normal.
Nope.
We have made that.
In fact, we get into like sort of unconscious competitions.
Yeah,
right?
when you get over 40, I'm falling apart.
No, you don't even know. I'm more tired than you. I mean, we do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so,
think about what you're doing then.
yeah, and we are convincing ourselves about something. We're lying to ourselves. We're telling ourselves something that's not true. We'll come back after break and talk a little bit more about it as we continue to talk about, they're uncomfortable. These are some uncomfortable truths today, but they are truths that we really need to focus on with regard to our health and our diet, because we want to be healthy, and we're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. Be right back.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. right. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, talking about some uncomfortable truths today, but truths nonetheless that we need to consider with our health and our diet. Let me spend a little bit more. We got to move ahead because I want to get through as many of these as we can.
Okay.
But we mentioned on the other side of the break, the feeling tired and foggy and bloated or achy. It's not normal. It's not normal at all. What it is, our early warning system ringing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I mean, this doesn't mean that I think some people can get into that bind of going to Google their symptoms and suddenly they went from having a headache to having cancer, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't want us to do that.
Don't do that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because more often than not, it's relatively simple, right? It's something like, well, I just didn't sleep well, or I am lacking in sleep. I may be dehydrated. There's stress, not inadequate nutrition, not enough movement. Sometimes it's something like that, but that doesn't mean that you ignore it either, right?
One simple thing you can do is water.
Mm-hmm.
You can replace how much, and this kind of surprised me when I really took a look at it. For me, it was iced tea with lemon and sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also occasionally would have a Coke. And what I've done now is almost entirely switch at meals to water.
Yeah, that's all I drink.
And it's been interesting for me to determine, I'm certainly not thirsty. The water satisfies the thirst better than the tea and the Coke. I find myself enjoying the taste of my food more.
Mm-hmm.
And waters, what are we, 70 or 75%
somewhere between
water?
60 and 80.
And so our system,
We depend
thrives on it.
Yeah. And it's important to continue, especially if you live down here, to continue to replenish that, right? But the point here that I want to make is that, let's not be hyper vigilant about every sensation, because that's not healthy either.
No.
But
be balanced.
To be aware of your body, but not afraid of it.
Right.
Right. And to be willing to dig into, I felt really tired the past few days. I wonder what that's about, and then get curious. Right.
Yeah.
And you and I talk about, it's not always a biological or even a physical issue, right? I mean, dive deep into asking and being open to the answer of, well, I'm tired, being, well, I've been under a lot of stress, right? And that's all it is. And so how can I replenish?
Getting curious is the key.
Yeah.
Become a curious student of your health and your body. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Your doctor cannot create health for you.
Ooh.
We have some wonderful doctors. There's a wonderful doctor that's my doctor, and he's one of the sponsors of the show. I mentioned him a few minutes ago, Dr. Todd Flowers. What a great doctor like Dr. Flowers can do is to guide us, to help us investigate, and support us.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not making daily choices for us.
No, and I think this is important. We as therapists, or at least I know I do, and I think you have this approach as well, many, that when a client comes in, part of our perspective is that, okay, I have some information and I have a skill set as a therapist to help show you what I'm seeing.
Right.
But I'm not living your life.
Right.
I'm not the expert on your body and your choices and your life because I'm not in it.
Right.
And it would behoove us to approach medicine in the same way.
Absolutely.
Because more often than not, these days, you may get to see the doctor for 10, 20 minutes.
And you have to make the most of what you got.
And really put that into perspective of, if somebody is seeing you for 10 to 20 minutes, maybe even once a year.
You got to maximize. Yeah.
Maximize it, but also put that into perspective of where you make your decisions based off of.
Right. So what you eat, how you sleep, how you move, how you manage stress, that is a big deal about your health over time. Chronic disease rarely begins the day you receive a diagnosis. So again, we won't belabor this because we've mentioned this, but it's a quiet development in most cases for years. Inflammation, metabolic dysfunction, other imbalances, left long enough and going long enough, become chronic disease very often. So waiting until you're sick to care for your health is waiting way too long.
Yeah. And again, that's about becoming an advocate for your own body and a student of it, knowing what's normal for you.
Modern medicine is extraordinary. It's extraordinary at treating emergency situation, but it is not designed to create lifelong health. A medication, what does it do? It controls a symptom.
Right.
But oftentimes, most often, a medication doesn't get to the core. Your curiosity, your willingness to dig there goes to the core. So we do have great medical care, and we need it. But we also need to address the root cause, and that's every person that's listening right now. That's your responsibility, my responsibility for mine. You're not destined to develop a disease simply because it runs in your family. Look, we've had Dr. Bruce Lipton on the program several times. He's got a great book. If you've never read it, it's called The Biology of Belief.
Yep.
I would recommend you to go read Dr. Bruce Lipton's book. It's not a destiny. If it runs in the family, okay. Your genes might be a loaded gun, but your environment is what pulls the trigger very often. And so you can't, none of us can rewrite our DNA, but we have much more influence than we give ourselves credit for,
right?
In terms of how our genes are expressed.
And that's the deal. And I think that's part of what Dr. Lipton talks about in his book is this idea of epigenetics that we've uncovered and realized how much power we truly have in our lifestyle, in our decisions, in our how we handle stress in our mind.
Way more than we've ever given ourselves credit for. And we need to give ourselves more. Talking about some very uncomfortable truths today about our health and about our diet, but they are truths. And, if we want to be healthy, which ones of these resonate with you? Which ones of these?
And I encourage you to go do some more research on your own.
Absolutely. Don't take our word for it. Dive into this.
The starting.
Become a student.
Yeah.
That would be the healthiest thing you can do. Coming back here on Strategies for Living. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, talking about some uncomfortable truths with regard to our health, our body, our diet, and all things that need to be considered. We're at my favorite time of the day because I just get to sit back and lean on the professional in the room.
Right.
What's your takeaway from this conversation that we've all had today?
I just think it's important that we be able to recognize that we actually have more influence over our health than we sometimes want to admit, even.
Yes. Yes.
But then sometimes we also have less control than we
Yeah.
even want to believe. And there's there's a balance there, and none of health is not something that I think we need to look at, is the idea that we've tied health and morality. That there's a right or a wrong.
Yeah.
Or there's a good
Probably
or a bad.
need to disconnect that.
Right. And so
Yeah.
if we can just become more curious, less judgmental, and students of our own bodies and advocates
Be
for them.
compassionate with yourself. You don't have to do everything overnight,
No.
but at least begin to ask the questions and get curious about your health and about your body.
And no, it's also very individual, right?
Yes.
There are some diets and lifestyle choices that are for some people, some bodies,
It may
but not for others.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
know you.
Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you. We appreciate you being a part of Strategies. And we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Restore Healing, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, well, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living